made it. This is Dr. Sarah, your moderator, and I'm with my co-host, Jessica Karin. She is the relationship expert. She is the speaker, author, and listen, we are here talking about, this is Ladies Night Edition, the finale of Ladies, Don't You Dare Change for No Man. And we're going to just have a great time. Listen, we call it cookies, cocktails, and convos on the Friday, Saturday edition. And typically, we do our Wednesday, it would be the Be Limitless segment. And really on a weekday, I try to hold my cup. Like I try to not, have a cocktail, so I say, let's just move cookies, cocktails, and convos on the weekend so that I can actually go ahead and have a sippy sip. And hey, we're going to have it. So I hope that you have brought your cocktails. I hope you brought your cookies, and we're bringing in the convo. And I just really want to say, on behalf of Jessica and myself, thank you so much for tuning in with us. Thank you for your patience as well. Thank you so much for hanging in there with us. Thank you for just joining us, because you could be doing anything. You could be anywhere right now, any other vibe, but you have decided to be with us. So thank you so much. And let us know how your week has been. How has today been for you? Go ahead. You know what to do at this point. Put a 1 in the comment section. Let us know if you had a great day, which is a 1. Let us know if you had a so-so day, which is a 2. And what are you deciding to do to change that 2 into a 1? Whether it's like, you know what, girl, I don't even care if it's a 5. I'm not doing anything about this day because it is the weekend at the time of this recording. So listen, it's whatever. You're going to bring it for us. So go ahead, ladies, bring it for us and turn my 2 into a 1. If that's what you're saying, then you know what? We got you, girlfriend.
Yes.
So thank you so much. Hey, Jessica Karin, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Feeling good. Excited about tonight's show. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much. Hey, this is our finale. So yes, we were talking about, ladies part 1, ladies, don't you dare change for no man. And then we had part 2 where we brought in a man, to help give from a different perspective, a different spin, and then also we brought in my great girlfriend, Coach CC Sharia Williams, and she had, lended her voice and shared about, her thoughts and opinions in regards to ladies not changing for no man. We have, of course, Jessica Karin, who has, weighed in on the conversation, as well as myself, the Limitless Liberator myself, and talking about why you should not change for no man. And so we decided to now bring it to a close, have the finale. And that's why exactly on other reasons, but I hope that I get to share about. But hey, this is why we have our cocktails. This is why I brought in my cocktail and, to be set for a change. So listen, y'all can also, please, we want to hear from you as well. Put in the comment section, what's your thoughts? Should you change for a man or should you not? Go ahead and let us know. So let's go ahead and have the conversation. And if you want to catch up with us, please make sure that y'all find the replay. Go back to the replay so that it will be life-changing for you. It will help you to now make a decision, to decide. And it's all, look, no harm, no foul. If you're like, look, I want to be able to keep my man and I'd rather change because that's just my prerogative, that's fine. Let it be your prerogative. If you're like, you know what, you're right. I don't want to change myself. I mean, I want to, live for me. I want to be proud of who I am. And, whatever it is your prerogative. It is your decision. We're just here lending more perspective, different variations, different variety, so that you can make a conscious decision, not always an emotional one, but a conscious one that will be best for you. So what's your thoughts? Should we change ourselves for a man? Jessica, what say you?
Well, I think we went through a lot of different scenarios, examples. We had some friends on and we've heard it from so many different angles, but I think my stance is still maintained. I don't think that you should change for anybody. And if you're talking about being in a romantic relationship, then there's so many dynamics and facets to it by itself, in and of itself, that you want to make sure you are in it for more authentic reasons than anything else. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you need to know who you are first. You need to have a great grasp, perspective of the type of woman that you want to be and that you are before you get into a romantic relationship. Anything after that point should just be the icing on the cake. Now, if you're in a relationship and someone's trying to change you or force you to change, then at that point, then you need to work that out amongst your own relationship and make a decision at that point. But I always think it's better to, going back to our IYWCC days, Dr. Sarah, it's better to prepare than to repair. So you want to make sure that you are prepared before you go into a situation, just knowing who you are, being content within yourself first. And then, like I said, if you get into a romantic relationship after that point, then you are already confident, you're already sold, you're already set on the foundation of who you are before you can even allow anyone else to change you. So, yep, still maintain. Don't think you should change for anybody.
All right. There you have it, everyone, from Jessica Karin. And I hope that Pastor Ray is watching as well, have a chance to. That we've been referencing them for a minute now, coming on the show, because that just shows their leadership. That just shows how they really made an impact in our lives, right? That we can go ahead and quote them. And let me tell you, I concur in regards to you change because you desire to change. And I honestly can say, and this is where I wanted to actually use this opportunity and time to really be transparent as well. We talked about experiences that we've been through. I know I shared about clients that came to me and what they go through that had them to make a decision for the better for themselves, to make a decision that worked for them. And I wanted to even go, and this is just for me, in regards to just really going even a little bit deeper, being even more transparent, to really drive this home in regards to making the best decision for you in terms of changing or not changing, as long as you're making the decision for yourself and having the reasons that are healthy. Because we first talked about this in regards to when I was working out with one of my fitness instructors, and he was talking about, this is when we were talking about how women were doing their augmentations and, changing, getting the BBLs, the Brazilian butt lift. And, I talked about how at one point I thought about getting bigger breasts, and how the guy had the nerve to say, this is the thing that I had to get all dressed up for. I decided to go ahead. I said, look, Jessica, we're going to have to do this commentary. I have to do this, because I was so floored that he was like, I love when, women, pretty much, I'm paraphrasing, how they change, but at the same time, I don't, us men don't like it. And I was shocked, because I'm like, well, y'all don't show that y'all don't like it, because we see you guys going for those women. Y'all keep talking about how they're being fake, and keep talking about how, you don't like any of that, but yet you're marrying people, you're marrying them, or you're knocking them up, or it's like, it didn't make any sense. Like, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. And this is why we decided to have this conversation, so that women can make a decision to be clear. And we brought on Sherrod. I can make sure y'all follow him. He shared from his perspective as a man. He can't speak for every man as he shared, but just to give some tips for women to really understand what are they getting into when they are making a decision to change themselves, to keep a man, to have a man. And really, it starts from within. We talked about that. It really starts from within. How do you feel about yourself? Do you love yourself? Do you... Of course, that can be argued in regards to, yeah, of course I love myself. That's why I'm doing these things. I like to enhance, I like to improve. At the end of the day, I talked about this in my book, It's Your Turn Now, 7 Secrets to Living Life on Your Own Terms. When you look in the mirror, at the end of the day, can you still say that you love yourself? Can you still say, when you take off the eyelashes, when you take off the wig, when you take off everything, can you still look at yourself in the mirror and say, I do love myself? Good, bad, and indifferent. I love myself with my blemishes, with my imperfections, with my flaws, by which are relative. Who calls it? Who calls that? Who calls it flaws, imperfections, blemishes? Who calls it that? Beauty is an eye of the beholder. One person may say that is one thing. Oh, there's something wrong. The next person would say, oh, it's beautiful to me. So it really starts with you at home. Home is you. How do you feel about you? So just want to say thank you so much to April for tuning in. Jessica, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you all for tuning in. And so I wanted to go a little bit deeper in regards to this conversation. And it has to do with, it has to do with, women making a decision to change or not to change. And I wanted to use myself as an example. And I'm trying to see how to go about the conversation. So apparently it's not so much that it's hard for me to talk about it because I can be transparent. It's just, I don't know. It has to do with, I think y'all know by now, one of my favorite words is alignment. So I was in a relationship, and listen, y'all want to know the type of relationships I've been in, you got to get my other book, Speak Voice. Ooh, Jesus, I really start to let my hair down on that one. But I was in a relationship, and I always wanted to talk about this anyway for some time. And I hope that this will help. You know, the reason why I want to be transparent is that it's always to help someone, you know, for people to know that, okay, dang, if Dr. Sarah was able to get through that, then I can too. So there I was in, so let me back up. I said I was in this. So I was in a semi-relationship. Here's why I say it this way. There's this thing, Jessica and everybody, where they will call it like the Tyler Perry syndrome. It has been called in different ways, where you see, you know, the heroine of the story is with this guy who is, you know, rich, successful, but he could be abusive. You know, he could be a womanizer. He could be all the things that she doesn't want, right? And it makes it seem like she was with him because of status, because of him having money. You know, he's usually mean to her, and then she doesn't know what to do. He kicks her out. He ends up breaking up with her or divorcing her or whatever. And then she ends up being with another guy who is not well-to-do, you know, but he's a hardworking man, and the status is not the same as her status, and so forth and so on. And then, you know, it seems like she's the one that has her nose up, and she's snooty and looking down on him. And then it's just something about him that is so genuine that now she just decides to be with him, and now they live happily ever after. And I remember bringing this up to you, Jessica, before about how you look at these movies and you're like, well, what happened the next day? Like, okay, that looks great, but what happened, you know, a week from now? Yes. I'm going to get some reports, some receipts as to, are they still together? And apparently, as you see, I never forgot that because that really stuck out for me. And so I wanted to say that because I remember a lot of my girlfriends, Facebook friends, I was, and I did get permission to talk about this before from my friend Brendan. So my friend Brendan, he has been in my life and my family's life for 10, 11 years. And he was, you know, he started with my friend, and he had helped me with my mother. My mother had Alzheimer's disease, and he was incredible. He was amazing. He's still alive, because I was saying he's still alive, but like, he was amazing. He was like really there for my family, for my parents and myself. And it was just awesome. And then I will always reference him as a friend, right? I was like, you know, he's my friend, you know, and that's true. I'm really big on friendship. And it seems like I'm stalling. I'm trying to get to the point. People will be like, you know, why don't you get with him? You know, he's your husband, you know, Brendan, get your wife, you know, what you waiting for? And it's like, it was just like a Team Brendan going on, like all around the world. It's like Team Brendan. No, I don't know any man that would take care of my mom like that, the way that he did. I don't know any man. That girl, he's a keeper. You need to keep him. And that was awesome. That was great. And then the thing was, especially for like my girlfriends, like the ones that they would inbox me like, okay, girl, what's going on? And I said, look, you're a woman. What do you think is going on? Like, in other words, it's like, okay, there must be something going on or something not going on for me to not move forward. And it has nothing, it's no slight on Brenda. So here's where I'm getting at. What made me decide to bring this up is because I had a conversation with him, and you know, because of course it looks amazing on social media. I've shown the good, bad, and ugly of caregiving, and I have been so grateful and thankful for Brendan being in my life. I would say that a lot of times we will look at changing ourselves for men to keep them. And then it can, this situation here can classify under, oh, you know, why are you trying to put him in the friend zone? Like, you know, he's so nice. He's so nice. Like, why are we putting him in the friend zone? You know, it's like, why can't he just be with you? Why can't y'all just be together and happily ever after? The word is alignment. Alignment. Brenda has been amazing as my friend and caregiver, co-caregiver with me. And I used to tell him, I said, you know, you have been amazing with my mom. Now it's about being amazing for me. And it hit me, everybody, it hit me so hard. Whew. I said, wow. So here's where I'm driving this home. We're looking at two facets here. We already talked to you ladies about not changing for no man, or, you know, or making a decision. If you decide to change for a man, you know, be good with your decision. Then there are women who are like, you know what, I will compromise or change myself. I don't want to say it this way, but step down in a way to try to match a meet, to make it work, to make it fit, versus the alignment piece. You know, we think that, here's what hit me the most was, I said to him, you know what, I'm amazing for you. You know, you swear by me that I'm the total package, right? But can I say the same about you being for me? And he understands where I'm coming from with that, to the point that, you know, and it has nothing to do with him not having a, you know, a PhD like I do, or things like that, or you know, him having his business as the same as mine. It's just a matter of alignment with regards to vision and purpose. I felt like he has served his space and his place in my life, and he is always in my heart. But it does not have to mean that it's about me compromising or changing to fit the narrative, to make everybody happy. And I tell you the truth, and then I'll stop. Y'all can talk back to me about this one. This isn't my first rodeo. I have found myself, when it came to relationships that I've had, that I would try to find something great about the person enough for me to stick it out with the person, even if in my heart of hearts, a lot of times we don't listen to our inner selves. We will silence that thing, or we will avoid it. I remember counseling countless women about this, ones that were getting married, and they were like, you know, Dr. Sarah, you gotta convince me to marry him. You gotta convince me to not look at the things that I don't like, that would make me say no to this marriage. But I love him, and he's been the best one out of all the other ones. And I just don't know if you know, my biological clock is ticking, and I don't know if this is my only chance to get married. And my parents are, you know, making me feel guilty, or making me feel bad, as if I'm going to be an old maid, that old word, right? Or I'm not going to ever get married, and I just need to go ahead. I got to do this. So it was like, I remember counseling these women, and then I found myself being one of those people, those women that I was counseling, and then deciding in quite a few relationships, settling, just deciding to be, because my biological clock was ticking, or because in my family, you know, you're supposed to be with somebody. That's all you see. Whatever the case was, I could not. I don't know if it was you, Jessica. I think you said it in one of the commentaries about the integrity with yourself. Mm-hmm. I had to finally make a decision to be in integrity with myself, to look to not overlook, or to no longer keep magnifying things about anybody in any relationship that I've been in, just to compromise or to settle or to say I'm with someone. Mm-hmm. Because I wanted to be happy. When I got to the place that I had decided that I matter, how I feel matters, because it's great. It's great. It's great that I can be amazing for anyone and everyone. But then it's about that person being everything and amazing for me. So I'd rather have a dialogue back and forth. I wanted to be respectful to Brendan because, like I said, you know, we had this conversation before and I told him how I wanted to talk about this and he was fine with it. If it were to, it's not to shine any type of light on him, good or bad. It's more about helping you as a woman that's watching this to know that it's about you caring about how you feel. And it's nothing selfish about that. It's nothing wrong with that. Please hear me. It's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do just because everybody's saying, because look, I took a lot of heat. A lot of people was like, you know, they were mad that I, you know, didn't move on. And then they thought it was me or something was with me, or thought that, you know, well, I got my nose turned up and, you know, I think that I'm better than him. And it had nothing to do with it. It's just in my heart, it was about alignment. And at the end of the day, we think as women that we can be amazing to men, right? And have everything to give. But we think that sometimes the men aren't going to be great as well and have everything for us. As if like we're the help meet. We talked about that before. Like, okay, our job is to help them meet to their potential. Mm-hmm. We already are at our potential, right? For many, many women, we are always ahead of the men, of guys. And it's like, as if like that is what it's supposed to be. Just the women are ahead of guys. So we're already everything to them, but we got to help them to be everything for us. And that is false. That is false. There is a man for you that is everything. He is your perfect Mr. Right for you. And it's just a matter of making that decision, my other favorite word, to hold out or to let it manifest where you both are ready for each other. And I can go on and on. I would love to hear from you. That took a lot for me to share. But again, I just had you in mind so that it will just help you to look at it from a different perspective. It's not about compromising. So this conversation is about, I guess, you know, to compromise or not to compromise. That is the question. You know, y'all can put in the comment section, what's your thoughts? Share with me. Jessica, what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts or comments to that?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people should know that wasn't completely easy for you to share, and, you know, should really respect your transparency, because I think a lot of women feel the way that you do. I just kept hearing in my mind, like, a lot of us as women feel like the sky is falling, like we have to make decisions. We have to do it now. And we have to make decisions for everyone else, when we're the ones that are going to actually have to walk that out. Now, I you know, when I was at your book signing, I was on the Brendan bandwagon too. And you heard it from me too. But I completely understand where you're coming from, your perspective. And again, and like you said, it doesn't shine any negative light because the friendship is real. The interaction is genuine, and at that time was very genuine as well. I'm sure he doesn't regret anything, you know, that you guys have experienced during that time in reference to the friendship and the, you know, y'all had a lot of great times together and things like that. And it's okay. It is okay to come to a conclusion with someone that, hey, we're friends, but maybe that's all it's going to be. And I'm sure a lot of us as women, myself included, looking back at our relationship past, would have just, it would have been lovely if we would have just kept it friends with a lot of people we turned it into a romantic relationship with. Some of us have had children with guys that we were just supposed to be friends with. Some of us have gotten married to people we were just supposed to be friends with. Some of us wasted 5-10 years of our life in a relationship with someone that we were really just supposed to be friends with. And I'm not sure how many of you have heard this term that says, you know, some of us are in our lives for a season and some are in our life for a reason. Dr. Sarah recognized her season with Brendan, and she recognized what season she's in right now. And I'm grateful that you brought that up, Dr. Sarah, because some of us as women, we feel like we have to define it for some reason. It's to the point where some of us, myself included, I remember when I was in college and I was like marriage mania for me. Like, being in the church and like serving in ministry, my whole thing was a husband, a husband, a husband. Okay, so when I would meet guys, it wouldn't necessarily even be, oh, he's probably a friend. No, he's my potential Boaz. This would be, what a lot of us think in our mind. We're constantly in marriage mode. We're constantly fiending, for the next guy that we meet. All he has to be is nice and attentive and, love God. Oh God, he's saved. And then what do? Don't let him have a nice job now. A job, period, for some of us. But don't let him have a nice job, and he's respectable. And we're hooked. We are hooked, hook, line, and sinker. And don't let our village, our friends, our family, they jump on the bandwagon. Oh my goodness. Because guess what? What do we see in history? The villagers are the ones that come out and they will praise the person. And then the next 30 days, they will be trying to burn them at the stake. We cannot base our, situations on individuals who are jumping on our bandwagon. We have to make solid, sound decisions for ourselves. So like you said, to compromise or not to compromise, I actually did a video on this a couple of days ago on my Facebook page, defining our relationship. Why are we with this person? Why do we want to marry this person? Why do we want to date this person? Why do we even want to date right now? Like, some of us need to even come down to that level. Is it even time for me right now to entertain an opposite sex relationship or whatever romantic relationship? Is it my time to do that right now? And I think we don't ask ourselves enough questions. We just jump into a situation with somebody and expect, because they're available and they're there, and we don't challenge our fears. Biological clock. Our other friends are married. Our other friends have moved on with someone. Our other friends have found love. We don't acknowledge those fears because those things are external factors that have nothing to do with the person, but are motivating factors behind why and who we choose, why we choose who we want to be with and who we choose. So I think that you really, Dr. Sarah, thank you so much for opening up like that, because I think you're saying something that a lot of women don't ever want to acknowledge out of fear that they'll lose the person that they're pursuing, or they seem too picky, or they seem being like they're being difficult, or they hit a certain age and it's always, why aren't you married yet? Why don't you have, it's always the questions that you get all the time. It's your choice. And it's also you protecting your peace and not wanting to compromise and settle. It's completely an exclusive decision. So thank you for bringing that up. It's a really good topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica, for making me feel a little bit better. No, because I was actually starting to tear up a little bit because of the fact that took a lot. Because like I said, I didn't want to take away from Brendan. Brendan is my heart. He is my heart. That is my boy. Okay. I was going to say that's my boo. That's my baby. Like, he is single too, y'all. So, listen.
Y'all bet not. Y'all bet not.
It's a plug. It's all right. Shoot, he's single. He's ready to mingle. I tell you the truth. He's living in Vegas, living his best life. And, we were talking about it, like, okay, did you find anybody? And he's like, he's just been focused on himself. So he had moved so he could focus on himself and really be the person that his best self, his best self, best version of himself. And I'm just saying, it's like, whew, when we get to that place to really be honest and ask those hard questions, like you said, it makes a world of difference so that we can flesh it out. We can peel the onion, to peel the layers back, on the apple, so to speak, and get to the core. What is the driver of everything? That when it comes to relationships, when it comes to business, when it comes to your love life, when it comes to whatever decisions that you have to make, you have to know what is the driver, what is the why, like Jessica Karin said. And there was one point that, I was going to go ahead and be like, I'm just going to go ahead and marry him because it just makes sense to. And everything always seemed to come up that it just would not happen. And I'm a firm believer of signs. Okay. I am a firm believer of signs. When signs come up, I'll give you another example. I said earlier, this was not my first rodeo. So now we're going back in the day, right? Going into the crates when I used to date, my friend Tyrone. Now Jessica knows and remembers Tyrone. She's
Johnny on the spot.
She used to call him Johnny on the spot, right? Now, why did she call him Johnny on the spot? Because of the fact that he was always on the spot, right? He was always, anything I needed and asked, he was right there on point, helping me with anything and everything. So this is pre-Brendan, okay? And so he actually, we started dating, I want to say around the time that I think I first found, no. Years before I found out about my mom having Alzheimer's. And so he was around when my mom was fine, and but then he was also there at the beginning of when there started to become challenges with my family, because when my mother got sick, it really impacted us in all kinds of different ways. So it was really challenging during that time. But yet, nevertheless, Tyrone was there. And I'm talking about signs here. So once again, plenty of times that we had opportunity to marry. But again, I was at a space and place where I'm like, okay, do I want to do this? Like you said, Jessica, now, Tyrone and I went to the same church. So it was like, okay, well, he has a job and he loves the Lord and all this stuff. So yeah, he's just an automatic candidate, right? Because of just that. And not necessarily everyone. Everybody can go to the same church. That doesn't have to mean that he's your Boaz. And I cracked up that one because when it came to the church back in the day, when the churches that we went to, it was heavy about, the whole Ruth and Boaz conversation and story. We're looking for our Boaz. We're looking for our Boaz. And it's like, that was the thing. And so I used to wonder or think or wanted to make Tyrone my Boaz. Now, what happened was, oh my God, this is so funny, y'all. I may need a cocktail for this one. So I just started my counseling practice too, around the time that I was dating Tyrone. So I was big on, and at that time I was counseling couples. So I was big on talking about how, especially for women, to listen to their inner selves. I was counseling people who were engaged. And I didn't care that, okay, yeah, you want to get married. You want me to try to, bless an amen and say that, yes, he's the one for you or she's the one for you. And I just wasn't doing that. I said, look, y'all need to make sure that y'all sure that this is what you want to do versus you doing this for whatever the reason. And then it's like you go to get divorced. And I wasn't trying to speak that over them. It was just the fact that, look, y'all got to consider everything. Always remember this. And then I'll go into the story. If can you marry that person as is, way that they are, upfront, close and personal, where they are right now, if they were to never change, whoever and however they are at this moment, can you see yourself with him or her being that same 10 years later, 20 years later? Are you able to marry that person as is? That is always one of the greatest questions in the test, the barometer test, you know what I'm saying? To determine if you can say yes or no. Because if that person decides to never change, or they can't change and they won't change, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? So don't let divorce be like, like that emergency cushion or that fallback. Like, I'll go ahead and marry this person, because, but just in case it doesn't work out, I'm just going to get divorced. Come on, man. It's cheaper to keep her sometimes. It's like, yeah, I tell you the truth. I had to counsel folks where they wanted me to help them. They wanted to get a divorce. They were now just friends living together. They were no longer like husband and wife by creed or by paper or by anything. It's like they were still married, but they were just friends at this point. And it cost too much to get a divorce. So they were like, help me to cope and tolerate and compromise and deal with that person and just us living together, because it just costs too much to get a divorce. And I'm like, I can't help you to function in the dysfunction. That is not that therapist. I cannot do that. I'm into integrity. I cannot do that. So I'm just saying, y'all, count the costs and kind of look at everything. not just being led by love and all that good stuff, because love is not enough. I remember when I went back, I'm dating myself, Blog Talk Radio. So these podcasts we talking about, let me tell y'all, when the podcast first came out on Blog Talk Radio, I remember doing a audio on Love is Not Enough. So anyway, long story short, so with Tyrone, we were talking about getting married. We were going to elope. And this was around New Year's. Yeah, it was around New Year's Eve. And I don't know if I even told you this, Jessica. I can't remember if I did.
You did. I remember.
Okay. So Angel and Miss Harris, thank you all for tuning in. We're talking about to compromise or not to compromise. That is the question. This is our finale with Ladies Night on, women, don't you dare change for no man. So I was dating my friend named Tyrone, and we were talking about getting elope. We were going to elope, and it was New Year's Eve. And I was saying how I would tell my clients, listen to your inner self. It never lies. Listen to the Holy Spirit. Listen to your gut. Listen to intuition. It never lies. So in me, I didn't want to do this, but I'm like, okay, well, but he goes to church. He's a Christian. He has a job. We love each other. So I guess I'm supposed to do this. He wants to. Why not? I guess. So we made we said we're going to go, and where were we going to go? We were going to go to Elkton, Maryland.
I remember.
Why am I laughing? Because this is where I am. I'm in Elkton. So it's like Elkton, Maryland was the hub for people to run away and elope and get married. Yep. And it dates as far back as to 20s or 30s or something like that, where famous celebrities would run to Elkton, Maryland to get married, but then they would run to Reno, Nevada to get divorced. Funny. But anyway, we were going to go to Elkton, Maryland and elope and get married. So I was supposed to meet him at his house. I think we left church. It was New Year's Eve. So we left church, and I said, well, let me go to my mom's house, my parents' house, and let her know. I get to my parents' house. I woke my mom, woke her up, and I said, hey mom, guess what? She was like, guess what, mom? I was like, mom, guess what? I was like, I'm going to go ahead and get married. She's like, what? She's like, no, you didn't tell me. I'm not ready. I said, well, I don't know what to say. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm about to go ahead and get married. I just want to let you know. She was like, well, and we're just going back and forth. And then she was like, I said, well, she's like, well, I wanted to be there. I said, well, you can come. She's like, I'm not ready. Like, this is like midnight. She's like, I'm not ready. I'm not trying to go. I said, Mom, I want you to go. She's like, I don't have nothing to wear. I was not ready for this. I won't be able to go. And I said, well, what does this mean? I need you to talk to me about marriage. I don't know what I'm getting into. She's like, well, I guess it just means that, you're going to be married and living with him. And I said, okay. And she's like, I guess we won't be able to talk anymore. I said, what? I said, I can't talk to you anymore. Then I don't want to get married. She's like, no, not like that. It's just that if you have problems and stuff, you can't be coming here with those problems. I want to send you right back, and you're going to handle those problems on your own. I was like, okay. Wow. I said, but I trust you. I believe in you. This is your decision. And I said, well, I guess this is it, Mom. She's like, I guess this is it. And so we just cried and hugged each other. I go to Tyrone's house. I'm driving on 95, and I'm just talking to the Lord. And in a way, I was like, okay, God, show me a sign, man. God, tell me something. I like, if this is supposed to be, then talk to me. Tell me something. I got to that man's house. He was sick as a dog. He just suddenly got sick. And needless to say, we did not go to Elkton, Maryland. Needless to say, we did not get married. I was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. I believe in signs, y'all. Mm-hmm. I say that to say there was nothing wrong with him. This has nothing to do with him. No bad or good light shine on him. It was just about the word alignment. Yep. Alignment. You don't have to compromise. You can be everything for that person, but you want that person to be everything for you. You don't have to try to get them to be a certain way. And understand this, and then please talk back to me, talk back to us. We talk about changing, we're talking about changing ourselves. I'm going to tell you one more story. I'll say this I want to, hear your comments, and then I'll tell you one more story. But it's like, we're talking about changing ourselves. And then a lot of times we think, I'm talking to the women, a lot of times women think that they can change a man. So, we're talking about us changing ourselves for a man. Then we sometimes think that we could change a man because now this is not, I know it's not late night, because we used to do, Sharia and I used to do the, I think we called it the talk after dark or something like that. Well, we would really let our hair down and really let the drinks flow. But please check, ladies, I'm about to go ahead, go there. I was like, chicks, don't think that because of your punani that can make or break and change somebody.
Nope, now, it won't.
Now, we do have some ladies, though, you know what I'm saying, that we see the celebrities, we see the influencers, we see some who were able to, hook, line, and sinker, they were able to clinch and have a kid and everything. But a lot of times, look at many of them who are going through the motions, doing all that and going through all that. And then you see how rough and tough it is throughout their relationship. So even when they thought that, okay, it took, the breasts and the BBL and everything else to get that person, but can you keep that person? See, so look, talk back to us. Thank you all so much for, again, just letting me just be transparent and share. Jessica, y'all go ahead, talk back to us. What's your thoughts? What's your thoughts, Jess?
Yeah, I was thinking about, I remember that time. I remember you telling me the story. I think I might have been on the T-bone bandwagon too at that time. I just wasn't a good friend, I guess. But no, it's almost like feeling like it's your only option, as if you're about to, as if you only have 6 months to live or something like that. I mean, I think that we just, yes. I'm serious. It also can be a reflection of the value that you put on your own life, and how you feel about yourself. I had to say it because, I mean, again, the whole scenario about the sky is falling. I remember when I got married, I was within 6 months. It was December when I met him, and we were married by the following June. And that was no time to know somebody. And one of the main reasons why that happened, just being completely transparent, is I was expecting, it was my first baby. And, I was kept looking for those signs, Dr. Sarah. I kept looking for those signs that you're talking about. And I got plenty of them, but I still went forward. And, I guess they say a cautionary tale that I think, me again, putting the pressure on myself, saying I don't want to have a child out of wedlock. That was probably one of the biggest reasons why I moved forward with this person. And there was, when you talk about alignment, that thing wasn't even close. You know, when something is off the track, that thing was 10 miles away and I'm over here. There was nowhere near the daggone track.
Wow.
There was nothing remotely closely related between us that we should have entered into such a serious thing together. Needless to say, it fell apart. You already know, after a few years. But I think about, when people go to auctions and they purchase vehicles at the auction, you're going to get a steal, you're going to get a deal. But for some of us, we're going to have to put work into it afterwards. And like you said, Dr. Sarah, would you move forward as is if the person was as is? So if you purchase the vehicle at the auction and you get it and it's some minor changes, well, I can fix it. I can make it, turn it into what I want it to be, which a lot of us women do. I can mold him. I can shape him. I turn him into, okay, so he doesn't have a high paying job. That can be easily fixed. He can get a high paying job, but this man may not have the motivation to work a high paying job. He may not have the capacity, the drive, the diligence, the commitment to do certain things like that. Okay, well, I'll just dress him up. I'll just do this. I'll bring him around certain people, but the person may lack motivation. We try to I call them build-a-bear relationships, instead of us being honest with ourselves. If this person never changed, would I still want to spend the rest of my life with them? And another thing, use my life as a cautionary tale. Dr. Sarah, when he got sick, he was just like, that's it. That's enough time for me. Some women, they don't stop there. They're like, you sick, we can do it next week. Because what we want to try to justify our irrational decision. And we want the quicker we do it, the less we think about it. The quicker we move into it, the less we think about it. And then once we're in it, it's survival mode. You should never. Here's the thing. The rest of your life is a long time. I don't care if you got 50 more years on this earth, 20 more years on this earth. That is a very long time to be with one person. And the way that we maneuver into this decision so frivolously, we just, hey, I feel the love. I feel the emotion behind it. This person looks good. This person feels good. And we don't take the time to get to know them. I just posted a video about this yesterday or today. I can't remember. You don't count the cost. As Judge Lynn Toller says, we don't bet the person. We just in it for the reasons we want to be in it for. And I commend you, Dr. Sarah, to a degree, because I feel like you not only made a decision for your own personal peace, but you also were making an investment in your future. Because I'm quite sure the certain decisions that you made after those decisions were not made would not have been made had you made those decisions, if that makes sense. Had you decided to be with certain individuals, had you decided to marry certain individuals, you would not be where you are right now. And you truly want to make sure that you're choosing someone that can take you beyond where you are right now. Not someone you're reducing your purpose for, you're reducing your shine for. And I think women, we don't have enough of these conversations because we're like, he's a good guy.
Right.
But is that going to be enough for where God is taking you? I do remember my mentor, Nate Ross, he told me this. He said, Jess, you have to be in a position to be with someone who is not just good for where you are right now. He has to be great for where you're going. How do you know he's going to be able to sustain your purpose going forward? And that's something we don't consider, Dr. Sarah. We just simply don't consider it. We rush into things, and take my life as an example. I didn't do it just once. I did it twice. Okay? I rushed. I made an irrational decision. And hey, I had to crawl myself out. I wasted a decade. I still look good, but I wasted a decade of my life because I was doing things for the wrong reason. So kudos to you and anybody else who decides to put their peace first, their purpose first, their alignment first. Because let me tell you something, it's going to be peace. It's not going to be chaotic, and it's not going to be confusion. Sometimes when you say you were kind of struggling in your mind on the ride over there talking to God, God, just show me a sign. If we're still looking for something, that means we're not completely settled in our decision, and we probably shouldn't either do it or take more time to decide if this is really what we want to do. There is nothing wrong with taking a little bit more time when you're talking about the rest of your life.
Exactly. No, that was excellent. That's mic drop. Boom, 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 boom. So thank you so much, Jessica. That was awesome. You have really dropped some juicy jewels, and hopefully people are, you watching and you're picking these up. This is Dr. Sarah Renee, your Limitless Liberator, and we have the lovely Jessica Karin. She is the relationship expert, coach, speaker, and author. And we are here talking about the Ladies' Night edition finale, Women Don't You Dare Change for No Man, on our Cookies, Cocktails, and Convos. But this particular conversation, we're talking about to compromise or not to compromise. That is the question. So I just felt moved to, just set it off and talk and be transparent about my relationships, just a couple of them, that I had, permission. And I did let them know I was going to talk about this. Even though, I've been wanting to talk about this for a very long time, and I guess it's the time to talk about it. And just to help you to understand about two things. On one side, in regards to women changing for themselves for a man or for a relationship, and making a good, conscious, wise decision that will best benefit you, but benefit you in a way holistically, not just in one aspect, whether it's, for status, for money, for not feeling lonely anymore, for someone to love you, or, have someone to love. Like, it has to be way more than that when it comes to relationships, because come on, this is one of the biggest conversation topics when it comes to women and to men, to really have someone that you can be in alignment, in harmony with, in oneness with. Love. Do you know what love means? We can talk about the definition in the dictionary thing, but really, love is just another form of, it just means harmony, being in harmony with the person. Are you in harmony? And first of all, it always starts at home. Are you in harmony with yourself? Yes. You have to be in love with yourself first to attract the right love to you. And for me, I talked about this before in one of the commentaries about how, I had opportunity to be married, but it was me that I said, the issue was that dirty word commitment, but it was more about, I just wasn't ready, because there was still more love for me. Like, I had to have more love for myself. And there were times that I didn't feel like I was lovable. Oh my gosh. I had to work with me. Another story, this is really not, I'm going to get to the main story, but just kind of segueing. For women, who had daddy-daughter issues, I tell you the truth, y'all. So for you who followed me through the years of me caring for my mom, it was a no-brainer. It was absolutely easy for me to take care of my mother. And if I had the opportunity, I would do it all over again. My mom been the bomb. She has been the bomb. That was my girl. Now, on the other hand, with my daddy, Jesus. Woo, Jesus. Jesus Lord. Let me tell y'all. No. Simply put, no. My daddy, I was not a daddy's girl, y'all. Despite a popular belief. I'm the only daughter, but I was not a daddy's girl. Me and my daddy did not get along. And so up to the point, we are way better now. But Lord have mercy, it took about 30 years to get along. And I say that to say, we had a conversation just recently. I was going to talk about this on another live with him, and how I had to lay it out on the table. I didn't know that it still bothered me, because I had to work through some stuff within myself about feeling loved and feeling wanted and feeling appreciated from my dad. I said that when it came to relationships, I don't put up the broken heart emojis for anything. I'll see people put the broken heart emoji when someone passes away or their heart is broken. And I tell you that I felt like I have never had my heart broken by no guy. Here's why. Because when you get your heart broken by your first love, AKA your dad, I don't feel like there's anything else that can top that. Any guy, I wouldn't allow myself to have my heart broken by anybody, because my heart was broken by my dad. And I was like, wow. So we had to have a conversation. And it's just like recently, I joked about something, and that it was a joke turned bad. It turned bad. And it had gotten to a point that I was like depressed over the situation. I was having a conversation with my dad, and I got so sad in the conversation. Like, I was sad for a couple of days. And then, but me and my mouth, my dad knows me. So I had to let him know. And I was like, Dad, I'm still mad today. You want to act like everything's fine and cool. I was like, I'm still mad right now. So we talked it out, and stuff came out that I didn't realize that I felt from when I was like 11. And here's the thing, everybody. If you are still hurt by something because a violation has happened, violation can be, someone hurt your feelings, it can be as severe as a violation. But I'm saying like anything that you would consider as a violation, anything that you would consider as, like it really gripped you to the point that you're still stuck back there. I am the age that I am today, but I was still stuck at 11. You're the age that you are today, but whatever has happened that really gripped you, you still have that thing to relive and play out from that many years ago. So what you have to do, you got to go back and actually bring yourself to a state of peace. I love that word. Mm-hmm. You have to now face that issue and get healing and resolve it. Even in resolving, just meaning letting it go. Right. And the only way I was able to let it go was for me to have this conversation with my dad. So I had told him, and I said things. I was like, like, Dad, I didn't feel like you wanted me. I didn't feel like you loved me. I said, Dad, do you love me? I said, I don't want to keep saying to myself that you love me because it's just because I'm your child, I'm your daughter. Like, do you love me? Like, did you want me? Because I used to feel like I have 5 brothers. I felt like he regarded the boys more than me. And it's ever a wonder if y'all have now, if I'm teaching y'all some counseling tricks and tips here. If you can actually put the pieces together, why am I so much in my masculinity a lot of times? Why is it that I'm always, a doer and taking action and, I'm the one that's running things and things like that? Hey, because I felt that I had to be a guy to my dad for him to love me and want me. I felt like I had to, me and my mom my mom didn't like me either. I'll tell you the truth. We didn't get along when I was a teenager. I got on her ever loving nerves, okay? Ever loving nerves, whatever that word is. I surely did, because I was too busy trying to win my dad's love over. So I wanted to show that, okay, yeah, I know I'm a female, I know I'm a girl, but I can hold my own, I can tough it out, I can, stand my ground. And I would be the one that out there, the fighting and, when I had time. I mean, I was a nerd in school too. I love my A's. I did love all of that. So when in between fights, I would, I would be studying, getting into the books because I love my A's. I know Angel, shout out to you, Fitzsimons. Yeah, I know you remember that. Stephen, hey, Centralite. I know you know that too. But as far as with the A's and being a nerd and all that. But I'm telling you, it's like I felt like I had to do whatever it took just to win the love of my dad over. So with that said, you have to know the source of where things, what moves you, what is the driver, what is the why? If you have to go that far back to see where did it start or where did the trauma or the hurt started, where you now are like trying to find love in all the wrong places. Because at one point in my life, I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I truly was. And I'm not talking with Brendan and Tyrone. I'm talking about, when I went to college. Jesus, Lord, that's another conversation. But yes, I had to now put that thing to rest. And so that my dad could restore me and esteem me. And when he told me, what I told him to say, I was like, you know what, Dad, all I want you, because he was like, well, you always been a doer. You always been quiet. I couldn't tell if you really needed me. You seemed like you were handling things. So where was there any room for me to really be there for you when you always seemed like you always had it together? And that hit me, because I'm like, well, I was like, I don't know. I don't know which, what comes first, the chicken or the egg. I guess I didn't feel like you loved me or wanted me, other than me just being a caretaker to you and, what I can do for you. But dang it, do you just love me? I just need to hear you tell me. And so he's like, you know what? He's like, come here. He had me lay my head on his shoulder. And he was like, and my nickname that he gave me, which I used to not let anybody call me that name other than him, is Puddin'. He's like, Puddin', I love you. And I am sorry. And I don't want to cry. He's like, I love you. And I'm sorry. He's like, what can I do to make it right? What can I do to make it better? He's like, maybe we can get together, because we used to sing. So my dad is a musician and a singer. He's like, maybe we can get together. We can sing some songs. Do you remember, certain songs that he taught me when I was 4, taught me when I was 3. He goes, do you remember those songs? I'm like, yes, I do, Dad. He's like, maybe we can get together. We can sing again. I'm like, that would be nice. And, it was just a beautiful moment. I just felt like that helped me a whole lot to get that out. And I had to then be able to now make room to appreciate that I'm so grateful for my dad still being here, and that I have the pleasure and the honor and the privilege to take care of him. And I just hope and wish that for you all as well, in regards to any unresolved issues or conflicts that has happened in your life. Go back to the source of a thing and see if that plays part into the decisions that you're making today, so that if that is, you deal with it somehow, some way. If you have to go to therapy for it, it's okay, y'all. It's okay to talk to a professional counselor. It's okay, so that you can actually be healed, whole, and restored and renewed, so that you can now make the right decisions that's best for you, thinking about your life here now, like Jessica said, and your future. This is for your peace. This is for your sake, not for anyone else but yours. Mm-hmm. Please, y'all can talk back to us. What's your thoughts, comments? Hey, Bleak, another 253 Central in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Jessica, what's your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, that was a beautiful story. I could, I'm always visualizing things. I actually see you laying your head on his shoulder. I can actually hear his voice saying those things to you. And you're absolutely right. Sometimes we don't want to go back. We just try to fill the void with other things. And then we find ourselves in situations that are very detrimental to our purpose, and very detrimental to the future of what we're really supposed to be doing, because we're trying to recreate something that we lost. I know, yes. For me, I was just talking to somebody about this, and it seems like every time I bring this story up with me and my dad to someone, I'm always like the strong person, right? So anytime I'm bringing the story up with me and my dad, the relationship or lack thereof, someone's always like, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," and I'm like, "Oh no, it's okay. I'm over it." But it's always maybe the 4th time I tell a story to someone, I'm all like tearing up in the background. So I'm like, "It's okay. I'm fine." So you always, and then what happens when, and maybe this might help someone else. What happens when you're not able to talk to the person that you might need to release things to? And that's something that's my situation. But there may be other people's situations, but it's still your responsibility to yourself to find ways to let things go.
That's right.
Because when you're holding on to it, and you're hurting yourself.
That's right.
I remember there was a time, because at one point when I was very young, my dad was in my life. And then when I got older, he just wasn't. He was around, just wasn't, we didn't have a relationship. And I remember when I was in college and I called him and I was dating. Well, Dr. Sarah know who I was dating at the time. When I was in college, I'll refresh your memory on later when we talk about this, but I was dating somebody. She know who I'm talking about. She gonna be like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And we were seriously talking about marriage at the time. I was in my early 20s, and me and this person were talking about marriage. And I remember him telling me, he said, "Well, how's your relationship with your dad?" And I said, "I don't know. I guess it's okay. He's around. He's okay." That's not what I asked you. How's your relationship with your dad? Because if you're trying to take on, a spouse, a husband, then, and your relationship is botchy with him, you might need to close that up. And I remember calling my dad on the phone, and, because I can't always catch him. I caught him this time, it's like a phantom. So I caught him on the phone, and he goes, and I go, "I just wanted to let you know that, a lot has happened. I was very hurt, for so many years, but I'm going into a different stage of my life, a phase of my life. And I just wanted to tell you, I forgive you for everything." And he was just kind of like, "Oh, okay." That's not the effect I was looking for, you know?
Right.
I didn't get the put and lay on my shoulder. Let's play some songs. I didn't get that. What I got was, oh, okay. Like, is this something supposed to So if that is your situation, and you really want to resolve things, like you want to let things go, like Dr. Sarah said, you might want to talk to somebody, talk to a professional, because that will affect your decisions. And what does that have to do with what we're talking about? It has everything to do with it.
Yes, it does.
To compromise or not to compromise. We're going to look for what we didn't have. We're going to look for what we didn't feel like we experienced, but we should have. And that has a lot to do with everything. What happens, say the person passed away, you can't talk to them. Say you don't know where the person is, you can't talk to them. But like Dr. Sarah said, if you are in communication with the person, please, by all means, talk to them. Be in a place where you can prepare your heart to talk to them. And regardless of what answer you get, you have already made the decision to release it. And that's something that, to this day, I've just learned to accept my relationship with him, but there's still a lot of things that I may still hold on to, but I've learned how to move in the direction that regardless of what the response is going to be, I need to make a decision not to keep hurting myself. Yeah. And some of us are hurting ourselves, man. I tell you, some of us as women, and it don't even have to be daddy issues. It could be mommy issues. It could be, teachers who have hurt us. I heard a story. I was watching a show, Dr. Sarah. It was one of these reality shows. And it was this one character on the show. She was very, very difficult with all the other ladies. And they couldn't understand why. And then she finally opened up and said, there was a teacher that said this about me. And it completely set the stage for the rest of their self-esteem journey. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like Dr. Sarah said, we don't know. It could have been an instance, a situation. We have to get to the root of our pain, and we have to get to the root of our hurt. We have to get to the root of our disappointment. A lot of times we say, I'm hurt, but disappointment, man, that thing is damaging. Yeah. Because our expectation is bruised. Yeah. And we don't know how to move on. So if we can get to the root of what it is, and we could say, not just to let it go, I let it go, that's not good enough. We need to really dig to the point that really, really damaged us and get some professional help. Nothing wrong with that. And help us work through our traumas. That's right. And then we can open ourselves up. Because I promise you this, if we can open up ourselves beyond our hurts, I promise you, for a lot of us, our preference would change. Yes. Our standard would change. The type of men that we choose to date will change. And it'll open up a whole world for you. Like, wow, I didn't even know. I thought this was what I was attracted to. I thought that's who I wanted to go after. And our whole world opens up. You know why? Because we are on a path of healing and recovery. And now we don't need to look for what we thought we lacked in someone else, because we already have it within ourselves. So that was a very powerful, powerful point you brought up.
And that was good. I'm telling you, that was great, what you just said. Because that is what we're doing in our mind, in our subconscious mind. We feel like there's a loss. We're lacking somewhere. And we felt like we missed out on an experience. So we will replicate. This is a term that I cannot remember. But for the point, this, because it's actually a psychological term. But just for the point, because that doesn't matter. The point is that, yes, when we feel like there is something missing, we will reenact it in our relationships. Listen. My relationship with one of the people that I talked about, he was 15 years older than me, a musician like my daddy, and kind of like the personality and the behavior was like my daddy. Mm-hmm. And for me to be the therapist, and I didn't catch that until like later on, and I was like, wow, I just I replicated this, because whatever I couldn't get from my daddy, I'm trying to now get it from the next person, the next person, the next person, the next person. But you hit that thing, Jessica. When you get your healing, when you seek professional help, it doesn't have to mean that you're crazy. I had to go to therapy concerning my daddy-daughter issues, okay? And it was fine. I was happy that I cared about myself enough to get the healing that I needed, to be able to be strong and courageous enough to even bring this up to my dad, to the point that now that I'm getting free from the whole situation, my interest changed. Whoever I may be interested in, it's like it's different from the ones that I dated or attracted or was attracted to, because of the fact that this is coming to a close concerning being hurt because of my relationship with my dad. So I love what you just said on that one. That right there was such a juicy jewel. And ladies and men, gentlemen, we're hoping that you are really not just enjoying this conversation, but you are getting the great nuggets that resonate for you. Talk back to us in the comment section. Let us know what resonated for you. What triggered? What really touched you, if at all? Let us know. Put it in the comment section. I'm looking, so that we can, acknowledge your comments, and so we can be of support to you. Jessica, this is your area with relationships. How can they get in touch with you?
Yes, ma'am. They can catch me on my website, www.jessicakarin.com. You can look me up on Facebook under Jessica Karin, on Instagram, just jkarin_official. So any one of those places you can check me out.
I was about to shade you. I'm like, you can't spell your name. You just gotta say, Jay.
No, because I always feel like a broken record because I spell it. They're like, oh, who doesn't know how to spell Jessica? You know what I mean? I'm like, did I even spell it?
Okay, I didn't know it was too many cocktails. It's like, okay, you can find me. Right. I mean, wait, Jay. Like, Jay.
I'm like, should I just say? Because you know what I was thinking of? I was like, should I do the www? But everybody knows it's daggone. If it's .com is the website. I don't want to sound old, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to say the www.
You're funny. Well, everyone, we're going to start bringing this to a close. We were just talking about in our cookies, cocktails, and convos. We were just talking about, ladies, don't you dare change for no man. This is the ladies' night edition, except that we decided to talk about, hey, you know what? When it comes to change, to compromise or to not compromise, that is the question. And we thank you for watching live with us. We thank you for watching the replay. We just hope that this has really been of benefit to you. Let us know what really resonated for you, whether now or in the replay, so that we can be of support to you, whether you can reach out to Jessica or to myself. And if you do need the professional help that you deserve, so that you can be healed, you can be whole, you can be free. Yeah. So you have the best relationship ever and being the best version of yourself, the best limitless version of yourself. And make sure that you reach out to us. We are here one step away, one call away, one click away, one message away. We will really be at your service. Here's the last story. Jesus, change. We already talked about women changing and not changing. That's your decision. But we gave you ample reasons to give you a clear perspective and making the best decision for you, for yourself. Okay, not for anybody else. It's okay to be, if that's considered selfish, then be selfish. Okay, own it. But really, that's not selfish. You just caring about yourself, and I'm really big on positive self-image and positive self-esteem, because when you love yourself more, it does changes the trajectory of who you attract into your life, what you will stand and what you will not stand concerning your peace of mind, your mental clarity, your emotional stability. When you care about yourself just a little bit more, it changes your perspective when it comes to relationships, who you will have and who you will not have. When you get to a certain age, I tell you the truth. My God. Oh man, I wish it was like later in the evening to talk about this, but we may have to do a after party like after dark type version, I tell you. But anyway, listen, when you get to a certain age, you're just not tolerating a lot of things anymore that you would when you were younger. Yeah. And you're okay with it. You're okay with it. They can take it or leave it. You're okay with it. Okay. But I tell you the truth. I was one of those people that thought that I could change a man. Okay. And I thought, because of the fact, again, I would lean back on my therapy background to know better, But because you said it earlier, Jessica, and I'll paraphrase, how there are certain things that you will just overlook and you would not look at and you would avoid. And the answer is right in your face, but it's like for the sake of the bigger focus, or the bigger chase, which is, okay, overall, I want to be with a man. I want to have somebody in my life.
Yeah.
And so I remember, I won't say the name this time, because I was friends with my two that I just shared. This particular one, it was something else. So you have to speak your voice, unmute your voice, be heard, and get your voice back. It is available on Amazon. You know what? That would be the best investment that you ever made on yourself when it comes to your well-being, your peace of mind, your self-care, and when it comes to just staying on your relationship with yourself and with others. Get that book, y'all. I was in this relationship and I found myself where I was so big on not compromising and not settling and all of that. This particular person was the status. He had status. It was pretty much a status. And I felt like, okay, it was a match. Well known, and all of that. Seemingly high powered. So I liked that. I did. I was attracted to that. And secretly, we were in a relationship. Except that I went through a lot in this relationship. And it was interesting how in this relationship, I was compromising. I was settling. There were times where I felt like I was amazing and beautiful and everything to everyone else. In this relationship, I felt like I was nothing. I felt like there wasn't anything about me, because that's how I was. I don't want to say it this way, but that's how I was made to feel, so that he could dominate the relationship. And it made me feel like all I was a prop or a prize or a trophy, but not an actual person. Again, this was a trigger for me because, okay, I already shared with you about how I felt in relation with my dad, how I didn't feel wanted. I didn't feel loved, so here we go again, not feeling wanted, appreciated, loved. And it was like, well, why? I would ask myself, well, why am I here? Why am I in this relationship? And it's amazing how sometimes, or at times, you have people who are in relationships where the dominant one, it is to make that person feel good about themselves, to make you feel bad. That's how they feed off of it. Now, my background or my specialty is personality disorders when I first started psychology. So this is a classic narcissistic situation. And here I go. So I brought that up to say, to me, in my mind, I knew that I can't change a man. But here I go, thinking that this was a glorified version, y'all. This was like an advanced version of me trying to change somebody. I didn't think I was trying to change anyone, but I thought that because I was a match, because I had, I was bringing things to the table, degrees, business, success, status, myself, beauty, everything that I thought that would be a full package to him and to other people, where it was like everything for everybody else from our past relationships, and it was something for him, but the point was for him to feel better about himself by making me feel bad. So it was like, in my own way, I thought that I could turn up the heat on everything that I had to offer to change him without me realizing that that's what I was doing. And it was a hard relationship. It lasted for quite a few years, more than I cared for it to last, until I had to face myself in the mirror. And I took off the lashes, took off the makeup, let my hair down, and said, Sarah Renee, are you happy with who you are right now and what you are doing and where you are? And I'm not saying that this was an overnight thing, y'all. It took some time. I had to do some inner work within myself. Why am I sharing this? Again, because a lot of times people would think that people who, we look at these celebrities, we look at these influencers, and think that, oh, we're too busy looking at how they got everything. You know, they arrived and, you know, they're living a life. Of course, they're going to make it look great on social media. We all can make it look great, but we don't know the stories. I do. Quite a few of them will come to me and talk about how they're not happy. They're not happy. You can have all the money in the world and still not be happy. You can have all the fame in the world and success and still not be happy. Yes, it can feel great to have those things. Shoot, I'm not putting it down. But if you're using those things as a way to try to make yourself happy, happiness starts within first. It is a state of being. You have to already be happy. And that's how you attract the finer things in life versus trying to find something to make yourself happy. And when it no longer makes you happy, then you're now becoming addicted to try to find anything and everything to make you happy, to fill that void. You have the power and the ability and the decision and the responsibility to actually change it up for yourself. So I'm just sharing with you, being this doctor of clinical human behavior psychology, being this licensed clinical psychotherapist, being this global, international, award-winning global empowerment speaker, being a best-selling author. And I think I may have, let me see. I don't know if I have frozen. I don't know if y'all can still hear me.
Can still hear you, but you're frozen.
Okay. Because we're going to get this point. I could be all of these things. And yet like I just said, I had a situation and a problem and a situation where I was choosing someone over myself and being happy. I was compromising. And I felt like nothing in the relationship, hands down. So even with all of those things, y'all, I'm just saying this to say to you that you have to start with you first. Happiness starts from within. Loving yourself first, not looking for it outside of anyone and still trying to change them. Even when you have everything to offer, that still doesn't mean that you can change the person. The person will have to make the decision to change. And if they choose not to, and they decide not to, and they feel like you're not even worth to change, then that is your answer. That is your answer. That is your answer. That doesn't mean that, okay, well, you just stay there because you can't get anything else. That's a lie. There is someone for you. There is someone great for you. You're being great for anything and everyone. There is someone great for you. But you have to believe that. And it starts with you getting to a place where you start to realize that you are deserving and you are worthy and you are enough and that you are more and that you are lovable and that you are priceless and that you are important and you are significant. I had to get to a place I had to start telling myself that. Whatever I was being told by him, it got to the point that I had to muster up the strength to look at myself in the mirror and say, I am opposite what he was making me feel or say about me. I had to say, I am enough. I tell y'all the truth, I had to make this hangs on my desk every day. Anytime that I wake up in the morning or I go to my office and I see this and I remind myself of who I am. Who are you? That's why I am so big on letting you know who you are. You have to start with who you are, knowing who you are and what you are here for. And that will lead the way. It sounds like it's easier said than done, but it's not impossible. Many people had to do this, I included. You got to esteem yourself and regard yourself when nobody else is doing it. And to the point that you believe it. You have to recondition your mindset to the point that you start to believe and know who you are. So then it makes it easier to give you the strength that you need to move on, to let go, to walk away, and be open to the right person coming into your life. So if Dr. Sarah Langley was able to do it, you can too. What's your thoughts? Call back to us, Jessica. Let's say you.
You know, what you sharing that powerful testimony and even thinking to myself, how many of us stay and wait for people to change when we should be making a decision to just go make a decision that's better for us. So for example, sometimes we find ourselves in situations, and I was in a similar situation just like you, and it was almost like to a lot of people, I'm the most confident person in the world, and I was.
Right.
As soon as I got into that relationship, it was like the stuff that he would say to me. I mean, I had never in my life felt so low. I had never in my life felt so insignificant. And like you said, sometimes, we bring these things to the table like, hey, look at me. I'm qualified. I'm on your level. I can, keep up with you. We can be that power couple. And this particular person, they're not set on that. They're set on, like you said, being narcissistic. They're set on trying to rule over you, try to control you, try to
dominate you,
trying to dominate you. It, like you said, they get this rise out of being elves, for lack of better words, for treating you like how they feel about themselves. Catch that.
That's right.
All of that deflection comes from somewhere. It comes from a space within themselves that they don't like about themselves, and they project that on you. So when you begin to represent to them something that they feel like is trying to dominate them, they dominate you. And they feel like it's something that they have to do in order to feel like they're on top or they're in control. Mm-hmm. And that was the situation I found myself in too, Dr. Sarah. I had never in my life thought that I would be the insecure girl. My appearance started changing. The way that I handle my business started changing, and I felt very consumed by this relationship. I felt like I had to prove myself. Mm-hmm. And the more I tried to prove myself, the worse that the feedback got from him. The insults got worse. The put downs got worse. Mm-hmm. And even there was, in my situation, there was some physical abuse going on as well, not just verbal and not just mental and not just emotional. So I found myself in a situation where I felt like, what is going on with me right here? And as much as I tried to wait for this person to change, that's the point that I'm getting to. How many of us are waiting for that situation, that person to change in the situation, when really we should be making a change within ourselves? Change takes time, but change is also something that has to take place to someone who is willing to change. If you're not seeing any willingness to change, if you're not seeing any signs that this person wants to do anything different or being anything different, then you could just be wasting your time. Mm-hmm. Until finally you can't take it anymore. And now 2, 3, 4, 5 years have gone by, and you're waiting for this person to shift, and they don't. But you've wasted the last 5 years of your life. What I will say to you, to a lot of people who are in this situation, and we're still going on to the compromise element, do not wait for someone to make a decision about themselves that you really need to make about yourself. Am I supposed to be in this situation? Am I supposed to be in this circumstance? And what do I need to do to change myself so that I'm not accepting anything from anybody? That's a personal decision they need to make for themselves. That's not a decision that you can make for them. And in order for you to move forward with your life, you need to be able to be aligned with someone who is as vested in their personal growth and development as you are in yours and as you are in theirs. You can't be more vested in their change than they are in their own change. That's it. And I guess that's the bottom line that I'm trying to make. Sometimes we wait. I waited. I was in a situation for 6 years, Dr. Sarah. And I waited and waited and waited and waited for this person to take their change serious as I was taking it. And they never did. And now I look back, they're living their best life now. I said, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put into this situation. But guess what? I should have thought about that once I saw they wasn't willing to change the first year and the second year and the third year. And it got worse and worse and worse. I should have thought about it then, but now I know. I know better and I'm doing better, that you cannot be more vested in someone else's change than you are and than they are in their own change. So that's the thing that stuck out to me. Sometimes we wait too long, Dr. Sarah. We be in it for 10 years, waiting for the person to change. Well, they have potential. Well, when is the potential going to turn into execution? Because
absolutely,
you know, you kind of hanging along by the thread, and they treat you bad. Oh, heck no. It's time to go.
Go.
Yes.
Karin says so. Okay.
TTG. Time to go.
Because you only got 6 months to live. So come on. I love that joke. That was funny. Well, listen, everybody. There you have it. In terms of when it comes to compromise or not to compromise, that is the question. You have to now ask yourself that question. Should you compromise? Should you sacrifice? You know, your well-being, your mental stability, your emotional stability, your mental clarity, all of that, your peace for a man, for a woman, for to say that you can be loved. Listen, you got to go back. Hopefully you caught these nuggets. You got to go back to a thing to find out where it began. And get the help that you need, get the healing that you need, work through that thing, you know, look for forgiving, being able to let go, as opposed to trying to hold the person by the neck like I used to do, you know, and it's kind of like, you know, you're giving the poison to that person and you're how's it go? Like you get the poison.
You're it's like you give it my mind went blank.
When
you drink the poison expecting someone else to die.
Thank you.
Something like that.
Yes, to that effect. So listen, stop drinking the poison, y'all. Stop. You know, and in terms of, it's just a decision. It's a responsibility. It is a choice. You can do this. And if you need us, we're here. We're here for you. Make sure you reach out. It's all good. It will be confidential. We're not going to put your stuff out there on blast. Of being able to have someone to talk to help you through the situation in this time so that you can live your best life.
Yes.
And finding the person or being found by the person of your dreams. And in terms of changing and trying to change people, like I said, I didn't realize I was trying to change the person. Because hey, at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I was invested. I put all these years in, and it's like it got to the point that I didn't want to leave because I put the time in. Again, it goes back to your worthiness, your deservedness, how you feel about yourself, your love within. If those things have to be worked out, doing that type of inner work, it is well worth it so that you can be happy, even if it means being to yourself. But it doesn't have to mean but so long. Yeah. And who's to say at the end, in the closing, when I talked about Brendan, Tyrone, particularly with Brendan, when I said it was about alignment. Now, it's about alignment. So it never has to mean that, okay, well, I'm not saying that we had decided that we weren't going to stay or try to make it work, but that doesn't mean that, okay, we can separate and have our time to work on ourselves so that if it is time, hold on one second. If it is time, then the time will be, and it will be perfect and it will be right versus trying to make something happen, forcing things to happen when it should not. You know what I mean? Like let it just play out on its own. So y'all can be for Team Brendan. We'll see, you know, to be continued. But in the meantime, it is about making sure that you are your best version of yourself, bottom line. And that you will attract that person who's the best version of themselves to make harmony, love, alignment happen and be. So we hope that this was helpful for you. We bring out a conclusion to the Cookies, Cocktails, and Convos. If you had a chance to look at the replay on Wednesday would be Limitless. Taking it on the road, y'all. I got picked up to actually go on a TV show on Apple TV, Roku TV, Roku and Amazon, so that now it can go out to more people to these cocktails, I tell you, so that it can go out to more people to be able to really learn how to be limitless. So we will keep you posted in regards to when that starts. My production starts next week. So I'll keep you posted and look out for that. And if you are loving us, if you're loving Jessica, if you want to see her as a guest on the show, let us know. You know, has she earned the right? Do you think that she's good host, co-host, a guest? Let us know so I can let the producers know. All right. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you. Hey, Charles. Hey, Pastor Charles. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know if you're watching this live or more so catching the replay. And y'all make sure that y'all tag, like, and share, because sharing is caring, and you never know, you may just help someone to become limitless in the process. So we hope that our transparency has really been a blessing to you and helped you to make a decision on being able to be limitless overall in your relationships and with yourself. All right, this is Dr. Sarah Renee, your Limitless Liberator, with the lovely Jessica Karin. Y'all make sure y'all contact us if y'all absolutely do need us. We are here for you. Thank you again for your time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.